Let's go. Final Flash! Oh, how cute! He named it. Oh shit!
เ Thank